In the summer of 1212, something extraordinary happened. A movement so strange, so heartbreaking, that it remains one of history's most tragic episodes. Thousands of children from France and Germany abandoned their homes, families, and lives to embark on a dangerous journey. Their goal? To reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land in the name of Christianity. What began as a seemingly innocent and divinely inspired mission quickly spiraled into a harrowing tale of suffering, betrayal, and loss. The world in 1212 was one of hardship and turmoil. The Crusades had been raging for over a century, and though the First Crusade had successfully captured Jerusalem in 1099, subsequent campaigns had faltered. The Holy Land was once again in Muslim hands. Europe was gripped by famine, poverty, and disease. For the common people, life was a daily struggle for survival. Amid this suffering, the promise of eternal salvation through the Crusades offered a glimmer of hope. This hope took an unexpected and tragic turn when a young shepherd from France named Stephen of Cloyes claimed he had been visited by Jesus Christ. According to Stephen, Christ had appeared to him while he tended his flock, commanding him to lead a crusade of children to Jerusalem. Unlike previous crusades waged with swords and armor, Stephen believed the purity and innocence of children would be the key to success. Word of Stephen's vision spread rapidly. He preached with fiery conviction, gathering crowds of children, peasants, and the poor. His message was simple yet powerful. God had chosen the children to bring peace to the Holy Land. Thousands of children, inspired by Stephen's words, left their homes, many without telling their parents. They believed they were embarking on a sacred mission, a march that would end with miracles and divine intervention. Meanwhile, in Germany, a boy named Nicholas experienced a similar calling. Nicholas, too, began preaching a children's crusade. Like Stephen, he claimed to have been chosen by God to lead children to Jerusalem. As his message spread, children from across the Holy Roman Empire joined him. They carried crosses, banners, and an unwavering faith that God would guide and protect them. The numbers were staggering. Historical estimates suggest that up to 30,000 children joined the two movements, though some were likely impoverished adults swept up in the fervor. These were not seasoned warriors or trained pilgrims. They were boys and girls, many no older than 12, wearing simple tunics and carrying nothing more than their faith. The journey was a test of unimaginable endurance. The children faced immediate hardships, long, grueling marches with little food or water. They relied on the charity of strangers, and when that failed, they scavenged or starved. Many succumbed to exhaustion and disease. Others fell victim to the treacheries of the road. As the children marched, the romantic image of a holy pilgrimage quickly gave way to the harsh realities of medieval Europe. They faced ridicule and scorn from villagers who saw their mission as folly. Some towns closed their gates to the procession, fearing the influx of thousands of impoverished children would bring chaos and disease. Despite these hardships, the children pressed on, spurred by a collective belief in their divine mission. They believed the Mediterranean Sea would miraculously part for them, just as the Red Sea had for Moses. They were convinced God would clear their path to Jerusalem. When Stephen's group reached Marseille and Nicholas's group reached Genoa, the sea did not part. The children were left confused, disillusioned, and stranded. Many began to realize the futility of their mission, but it was too late to turn back. Some wept openly, praying for a miracle that never came. It was here, at the edge of the sea, that the children met their ultimate betrayal. Merchants and ship owners approached them, offering passage across the Mediterranean. The children, desperate and trusting, believed these men were agents of God sent to aid them. They boarded the ships, filled with hope that their journey would finally lead them to Jerusalem. The truth was far darker. These merchants were slavers, preying on the children's vulnerability and faith. The ships did not sail to Jerusalem. Instead, they carried the children to the bustling slave markets of North Africa and the Middle East. Thousands of children were sold into slavery, their dreams of a holy mission shattered in the cruelest way imaginable. For those who avoided the slave ships, the journey home was equally harrowing. Many children who tried to return to their villages succumbed to hunger, exposure, or disease along the way. Only a fraction of the original Crusaders survived to tell their families what had happened. The aftermath of the Children's Crusade was devastating. Families were left grieving for children who would never return. Communities were haunted by the loss of so many young lives. The Church, which had not officially sanctioned the Crusade, distanced itself from the tragedy. Some religious leaders blamed the children's plight on their own hubris, claiming they had misunderstood God's will. Historians have debated the Children's Crusade for centuries. Was it a genuine movement of faith or a misguided act of desperation? Were the children manipulated by cunning preachers and opportunistic slavers, or were they victims of their own blind devotion? What is clear is that the Children's Crusade was one of history's most tragic episodes, a story of innocence betrayed, of faith manipulated, and of dreams destroyed. It serves as a haunting reminder of the dangers of blind belief and the exploitation of the vulnerable. Today, the Children's Crusade is a cautionary tale. It forces us to confront the fragility of hope and the cost of misplaced trust. It asks us to remember the children who marched, not as saints or heroes, but as victims of a world that failed them. Their story, though steeped in sorrow, carries a timeless lesson: to protect the innocent, to question the motives of those in power, and to ensure that history does not repeat itself. The Children's Crusade of 1212 is a story that echoes through time, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the devastating consequences of exploitation. Let us honor their memory by learning from their plight and striving to create a world where such tragedies can never happen again.